Well, thank you, Keishoff, and thanks to all of you for joining us. It's a great pleasure to have an opportunity to welcome you to the World Bank today to recognize the first anniversary of the St. Petersburg Summit on Tiger Conservation, to have a chance to review some of what we've done, but also consider the path ahead. I'd like to thank Rachel Kite for chairing this important gathering. Fighting fire with fire, it appears, is the theme, as well as Keishoff and his tireless Global Tiger Initiative team for the organization. I'd like to give a special thanks to all the distinguished guests, in particular the participants on our expert panel, who will share some of their experience and expertise and help us brainstorm for solutions to the illegal wildlife crisis. And our representation from the Tiger Range countries who are joining us from video conference from India, Nepal, and Vietnam. I know it's very late in the evening for all of you, so I'm especially grateful that you would take the time to be with us here in Washington. Last year's summit was an extraordinary event. It was the first ever meeting of world leaders to address the fate of a non-human species. Hosted by Prime Minister Putin, the meeting brought together prime ministers from 5 Tiger Range countries, ministers from all 13 Tiger Range countries, leaders of international organizations, and celebrities from around the world. We came to St. Petersburg because we shared a common belief, and that is that saving wild tigers matters. It matters not only because these are magnificent and beautiful animals, but also because tigers are a barometer of ecosystem health and a cornerstone of the natural capital in the countries in which they live. Tigers are guides in assessing the biodiversity of the planet. The summit was able to mobilize political, financial, and celebrity support behind the goal of doubling the numbers of wild tigers to at least 7,000 by the year 2022, the next year of the tiger. All the Tiger Range countries adopted the St. Petersburg Declaration on Tiger Conservation, committing them to, among other things, protecting the remaining tiger habitats, some of the last great expanses of forest in Asia, and eradicating poaching and the illegal trade in tiger parts and products. The World Bank and other international organizations are committed to support these efforts. Now, all too often, promises and pledges don't necessarily lead to concrete action. What matters are results. So, 1 year on from the St. Petersburg Summit, what's changed for the future of tigers? A first important step in the Global Tiger Recovery Program has been endorsed, is that the actions has been endorsed by the national cabinets in all 13 of the Tiger Range countries, with commitments of full support. This means that the political will that was generated in Russia is influencing public policy in countries' capitals. It's also affecting change on the ground. Over the past year, all the Tiger Range countries have strengthened their wildlife protection laws, they've increased patrolling teams, and they've conducted intensive training of their frontline staff, and in some cases also created and strengthened institutions to address wildlife crimes. Russia, for example, has now banned the logging of the Korean pine, which is a key food source for tiger prey. Russia has also increased the resources for rangers and empowered rangers with full enforcement rights. Some Tiger Range countries have created more reserves, or they've expanded the size of the existing ones, and defined critical corridors between reserves that need to be protected. India has enlarged the area of its tiger reserves by 5% to a total of 55,000 square kilometers. After a nationwide census, India has reported a modest increase in tiger numbers, from 1,411 to 1,706. This is good news, but it's tempered by the fact that tigers are using less area outside the tiger reserves than they were 5 years ago. Bhutan, Nepal, India, and others have developed and strengthened mechanisms to increase community support for tiger conservation. Some of the actions have included sharing the benefits from tourism or forestry with communities and strengthening the response to conflict between tiger and local communities. 12 tiger range countries have either renewed existing bilateral and regional alliances, or they form new ones, so as to cooperate both on wildlife law enforcement and in managing the transboundary tiger landscapes. Malaysia, Indonesia, Bhutan, and the People's Democratic Republic of Laos are exploring options for smart green infrastructure so that development activities can proceed without sacrificing biodiversity. The international partners are fulfilling their part of the bargain too. Support from GTI partners to the tiger range countries is now better focused and better organized. We've created the International Consortium for Combating Wildlife Crime to support the efforts, among other nations, of tiger range countries to fight illegal trade and trafficking in all wildlife. This group is made up of the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora, CITES, Interpol, the UN Office on Drugs and Crime, World Customs Organization, and the World Bank Group. In addition, the strategic partnership between GTI and the Smithsonian is focusing on training frontline staff in smart patrolling, tracking, and surveillance. Project Predator is a significant new wildlife crime fighting effort led by Interpol and supported by USAID, the World Bank Group, as well as the UK's Department for Environment, Food, and Rural Affairs, the Smithsonian, and others. Launched earlier this month at the 80th Interpol General Assembly in Vietnam, Predator's goal is to support and enhance governance and law enforcement capacity in tiger range countries so that the authorities can put the heat on traffickers in tigers and other wildlife and to try to break up the criminal syndicates. We've also been making progress on increasing resources to help countries reach their tiger conservation goals. The tiger range countries are seeking $350 million in external funding to implement the recovery program over the next year. So far, close to half that amount, about $160 million, is approved or in the pipeline with the World Bank's International Development Association and the Global Environmental Facility as being major contributors. Another potential source of new funding for tiger conservation could be the Wildlife Premium Market Initiative, which we've been pioneering with the World Wildlife Fund. 2 pilot projects to test that concept, one in Nepal and another in Thailand, are under development, and we're planning to create a readiness fund to help finance other pilots. I'm also finding interest in bilateral donors, and meetings like this certainly assist by demonstrating the seriousness and the results of this effort. But there's still a long way to go to bring back the wild tigers. First, infrastructure development continues to impinge on tiger habitats. At the World Bank, we've pledged not to finance any infrastructure projects or development that harm critical natural habitats, including key tiger habitats. Models for smart green infrastructure are providing us ways to be able to operationalize this pledge and ensure that development and protection can coexist. But to be effective, these models need to become part of the public policy of all tiger range countries and international financial institutions, both public and private. Second, demand for tiger parts and products remains unacceptably high, and as a result, poaching and illegal trade and trafficking remains a large and growing problem. We're going to have to tackle this problem from both ends. Innovative ideas to try to reduce the demand for wildlife parts, and stronger support on the supply side from national law enforcement authorities to enforce wildlife laws and catch wildlife criminals who act outside of protected areas, as well as effective cross-border, regional, and global cooperation to stop the illegal wildlife trade. Third, human and financial resources still remain far insufficient to address the size of threats to biodiversity. While the World Bank has managed more than $6.5 billion worth of conservation investments since 1992, wildlife and wilderness remain undervalued and overexploited. As a result, we've begun to think about ways to transform how natural capital can be valued. For example, we're currently piloting the Wealth Accounting and Valuation of Ecosystem Services, or WAVES program. WAVES is developing the tools that countries need to be able to integrate the economic benefits of their ecosystems into their own national accounting systems. Using this system, decision makers will be able to see the value of green economic growth. Our new ocean initiative will improve governance of the oceans to support food security, overcome poverty, and boost economic growth. We've also created a new community of practice on wildlife law enforcement and environmental crime. This complements the work that we do on safeguarding natural habitats. So these initiatives will help create the enabling conditions for effective tiger conservation. So we're at a critical point in this campaign. We won some important early battles, but to turn the tide, we truly have to transform the dynamics of tiger conservation. At the policy level, we're going to have to sustain the political will and momentum created at St. Petersburg. To this end, I'll reach out to Prime Minister Putin and others to find ways to keep tigers and biodiversity high on the national and international agendas. We're also going to have to continue to give the highest level of support to those who do the real work of conserving tigers in their habitats, the men and women on the ground, on the front line in protected areas. These people need our cooperation, encouragement, and recognition. So I'd like now to turn to our participants from the three tiger range countries. I'm particularly interested in hearing your views about what's happening on the ground, where you've seen progress over the past year, and where there are setbacks. Most importantly, what do you consider to be the major challenges looking ahead over the next year? And what can we do to continue to support you? Thank you.